It's an honor to welcoming here on stage Mr. Eloy Van Hal, founder of the Hogeweyk, known as world's first dementia village, and a senior advisor at the Advice. So, whenever you want, please be very welcome here on stage, Mr. Van Hal.
I am Eloy. I'm Eloy Van Hal. I'm from the Netherlands. And I will talk about dementia care. So not HDH, help me. So a different brain disease. And I will talk about the Hogeweyk first. And the Hogeweyk is known worldwide as dementia village. But I hardly use the term dementia village because it's not about the dementia, it's about people. It's about people living with dementia. And we do this already, the Hogeweyk exists already for quite some years, around 20 years. And so we learned a lot about dementia care. And so I will also end this talk more about what we have learned and what others do with this knowledge. First, I need to explain you that the Hogeweyk is officially a nursing home. A nursing home like you have many here in Spain. A nursing home for people who need very complex care. Very complex care until end of life. So all people that move in the Hogeweyk, this nursing home, will pass away there. So they will pass away and the Hogeweyk will take care of them. These pictures, and I have a short movie after this slide. These pictures doesn't give you the idea of a nursing home, a traditional nursing home. And I point out that these are the same, let's say, patients living here like the patients that live in your nursing homes. It's the same disease, it's the same person living with dementia. And for the translators, if they are there, it's important to make a difference when I use the word patient compared to resident. Because with the word patient, you focus on the disease. And with a resident, you focus much more on the person, the individual. The Hogeweyk is funded out of our healthcare system, our social system. So the budget we get to provide complex care is exactly the same budget as all other 2,000 nursing homes get in the Netherlands. So it's not about money, it's about how you look at people. It's not for profit, so everybody who's living in the Netherlands who need this type of complex care, skilled nursing care, can access the Hogeweyk. Some people think it's for profit and that you have to pay a lot of money. No, it's funded out of our system. So the Hogeweyk spends the budget completely different, and I had some nice discussions during lunch already how to do that. So you see people walking outside, people sitting at a fountain, a water. You see bridges. You see people smoking, biking. You see different outdoor spaces. You see even a supermarket in this officially licensed skilled nursing facility. So the Hogeweyk provides complex care for around 188 people. So it's quite big. 188 people, and they are living in one of the 27 houses. There are 27 houses in this neighborhood, specially designed for people living with dementia. I will start the video that gives you a little bit of an impression. She was a resident playing the piano in the cafe. That was the only piece she could remember. I want to continue with a little bit storytelling about Mr. Van A. Mr. Van A was one of the residents living in the Hogeweyk. And he was a really traditional personality, a traditional Dutch person. And I heard about his personal story when I was hosting 2 queens in the Hogeweyk. And so this is a question for you. Who are those queens? You get Maxima, yes? Oh, this is, of course, Europe. And the other one, you know? Sylvia from Sweden. So 10 points. So I was a little bit younger. You can see, so I was a little bit younger, 10 years ago. Less gray hair. And I was, just before this moment, I was checking the Hogeweyk outside if everything was clean and neat. 2 queens coming, so I need to check. I was the manager in charge at that moment. And at that moment, the son started to talk with me. The son of Mr. Van A, who just wanted to come inside. And he told me the whole story of his dad, that his dad had a terrible life at home. And he was not nice, not happy. And since he moved in, he felt much more happy. And he really enjoyed living in this neighborhood, specially designed for people with dementia, this nursing home for people living with dementia. And Mr. Van A was living in a house with 5 other more traditional people. A more traditional house, like the Dutch people design a more traditional house. So the wallpaper, the furniture, the pictures, it's all adjusted to the more traditional lifestyle of Mr. Van A and the other people that were living there. And mind you, this is a nursing home. Also outside, it looked more traditional with the elements to decorate the garden. And we heard about his life story before Mr. Van A moved in. He was a former farmer. That was his former life. That's what he did. And in this picture, I'm chatting with Mr. Van A and one of his housemates. And in this house, they cook meals. In all houses, we cook different meals. There are 27 houses. In a traditional house, they cook the more traditional dishes. Traditional dishes in the Netherlands are dishes with potatoes. Potatoes, potatoes, and vegetables and meat. That's what traditional Dutch people eat. And so also Mr. Van A really liked to eat that. You cannot smell it because it's a picture, but I know that at this moment they were cooking macaroni. So he could tell me, this is what I don't like. So not everything is perfect in the Hogeweyk. And this day, he might not be so happy with the dish. But normally, they cook the traditional dishes in a more traditional home. One of the things Mr. Van A really liked to do every day is going to the supermarket that is in the Hogeweyk. The supermarket where you go to for groceries. The supermarket where you go to buy all the other stuff to run your household. And Mr. Van A could not follow a whole shopping list. If he could, he was not living in the Hogeweyk. Because only people who cannot, I forgot to mention, only people who cannot stay at home can go to a nursing home in the Netherlands. And so you can only go to the Hogeweyk if you cannot stay at home with the professional support of home care, home help, or maybe your relatives and neighbors. So he could not follow a whole shopping list, but this is what he really liked to do. So every day he had to think, do I need my coat? Do I need my hat? Before I go outside. Because if you want to go to the supermarket, he has to leave his house where he's living with 5 other people. And so he's walking outside. And it's not such nice weather as here in Barcelona. So it can be rainy, can be cold, and that's good. Also for people living with advanced dementia. It's still good that they are nudged to go outside and walk in the fresh air or in the sunshine, of course. And so Mr. Van A really liked to help. He was active instead of sitting on his butt all day long. Bringing back the groceries to his house. Together, of course, with the help of a care worker. So Mr. Van A always went to the supermarket together with somebody else, the care worker who works in the house, who is sort of the mother or the father of the house, who manages the household, provides care, living and well-being. An important element of a normal life is that people sit around a normal table. And that Mr. Van A, and he's sitting here drinking a glass of milk, can make every day the choice in what he wants to eat on a sandwich. Although it might be the same choice every day. That's important, that you can make that choice every day again. Mr. Van A, and you saw that in the video, really liked to welcome friends. So he left his house, sitting outside in front of the cafe, drinking maybe a beer, at least smoking a cigar, and meeting friends. Social contacts. Smoking a cigar. And we know smoking is not healthy, but Mr. Van A is living in the last few months of his life. So are we forbidding smoking? Are we forbidding drinking in the Hogeweyk? No. It's your last few months, years maybe. And Mr. Van A really liked to do bingo. And that sounds very institutional, bingo. But for traditional people, it's very nice to do. And Mr. Van A could choose out of more than 35 different kind of clubs. Music clubs, active gym, biking, and he preferred bingo. So every Friday afternoon, he went to the theater where they play bingo with 60 other people. On a Friday afternoon, I met Mr. Van A again at the theater square, one of the squares at the Hogeweyk, and he had to pass and cross the square to walk to his house. And he showed me proudly his box of chocolates. He won a box of chocolates, so he was proud at the bingo. The Monday after, I met his son again in the reception entrance area with the personal belongings of Mr. Van A. And Mr. Van A passed away that Friday night at midnight. So he passed away very quickly. And that happens a lot in the Hogeweyk. People live their life to the max and pass away very quickly. I will come back to that. Maybe he had eaten all the chocolates and passed away because of that. I don't know. But that happens. So the Hogeweyk wants to offer quality of life. But all care homes in the world talk about quality of life. But what is it? What do you do every minute of the day? How do you create a place where each individual can be him or herself? So how do you operationalize quality of life for each individual? Because Mr. Van A was unique. So we talk about these guiding principles already for a long time. If we want to humanize the care, if we want to offer people a place where they can live and get care and support, we need to get rid of our institutions. We need to deinstitutionalize, transform, and normalize the places where people with advanced dementia stay and live if they cannot stay at home. Most people, also in this room, probably don't want to go to a nursing home. in the last phase of life? Who wants to go to a nursing home? Say, yes, let's go. Nobody? Why not? Because it's not a nice place often. It's not comfortable. So we realized the neighborhood already 20 years ago, and we used these 7 pillars. I saw more pillars today. These are the 7 pillars of the Hogeweyk concept. And we think that if you want to develop quality of life for individuals, you should consider these 7 pillars. And I will explain the Hogeweyk a little bit more, just briefly, using these 7 pillars. And I will start with the favorable surrounding. If you cannot stay at home anymore, and your home is your most comfortable place, with your personal stuff, your neighbors, you still want to go to a place that feels like your own neighborhood, that has the possibility to go outside, to walk around on streets, enjoy the weather. And I saw a lot of people sitting outside also here. So also Spanish people like to sit outside. But let's say in Dutch healthcare, for a long time, people were kept inside for their safety or for other reasons, so it's too complicated. We created a neighborhood where people can walk and still can walk freely around. A neighborhood with different gardens, different streets. So not just one garden, that's already better than no garden at all, but different places so you can walk around, explore the neighborhood. Where you can experience the seasons, where people walk outside in chilly weather, rain, snow, where you can see that it's now fall and it becomes winter. That is quality. That's good, also for older, fragile people. When we came up with this idea 20 years ago, many Dutch colleagues said, Eloy, you're completely insane. Because these fragile old people cannot walk outside on their own. They will fall, they will get lost. And now it's an example on how you can give people more autonomy and independence again. So we created a neighborhood where you can walk around, and the orange boxes are all kind of amenities for the neighborhood. Amenities like the theater, where you have to go to through fresh air, rain, or the cafe or the restaurant or the supermarket. And people with dementia learn to navigate in this new neighborhood for them, because there's a lot of variety, so natural landmarks. So people with dementia, advanced dementia, still have the learning abilities. And people live in a house that looks like a house. Again, this is complex care. People stay here until death. They need a lot of medication and care, but we still have a kitchen and a refrigerator where you can go to, where you can make your own sandwich. We have knives available to use. Also at the table, where you sit around and have, in this case, lunch. In many nursing homes, knives are forbidden because people think that people with dementia will stab everybody immediately and kill everybody. But people with dementia are not stupid. And so you must adapt to your culture. I'm showing you an urban neighborhood near to Amsterdam. It can be also in a more rural environment or more Spanish little village environment. It will look different. Next pillar is the pillar lifestyle. We must realize that we are all a little bit different. We have our own habits, norms, preferences in music, meals, daily rhythm. And also all the other people that are living in the Netherlands have different habits. But if you investigate, you can group them. The more traditional people, the more cosmopolitans. And Motivaction helped us with a lot of data and information. We work with these 4 groups of people. So when you need skilled nursing care, complex care, like Mr. Van A, and you want to move into the Hogeweyk, the nursing home, the Hogeweyk, we need to know who you are, what you like for dinner, what kind of music you like. And we will have an in-depth interview with you as a resident or maybe the family member. And we will match you in a group with like-minded people. The more traditionals like Mr. Van A, who like folk music, the potatoes, a beer, have a local news interest. Or maybe more the cosmopolitans, who traveled around the world, like art, museums. Mr. Van A never visited a museum. But cosmopolitans, they are interested in art and museums. The more formal lifestyle group, people there where the tablecloth is linen, where dining is a social event. Mr. Van A just want to have food, traditional. But for formal, they are more a little bit upper class. They behave a little bit different. They are more introvert. And so we want to match you in a group with like-minded people because that gives you comfort. The food you like, living together with people that have more or less the same interest, hobbies. And this is some pictures of the more urban lifestyle, the urban city style, like in Amsterdam. And so look at the closet, pink, and the wallpaper, flowers. Look at this ugly lamp. I don't like it, but it fits perfectly in this lifestyle. It's not about my taste as a manager, it's about what gives comfort for the residents. And so we even matched the color of the towels. And you can see that if you look at the clothes the residents choose, they have the same colors. So often in dementia design, they advise you not to use red as a color because it agitates people. But in this lifestyle, it fits perfectly. Mr. Van A's house is much more basic, the basic colors, not so fancy. So this is traditional. And these lifestyles, matching people according to their preferences and also adapting the interior gives comfort or less agitation because the people with dementia are living in a other house, in a strange house with strange people. And if those people are a little bit like you, that gives you less agitation and more comfort. Everywhere in every society, and that's what Motivaction shows, there are different people. Also here in Barcelona, you're not all the same. Or in Spain, there are different kind of people. And so lifestyles help to give people more comfort. So in the Hogeweyk, again, we have 27 houses, and some are traditional, some are urban, some are formal, and some are more cosmopolitan. Next pillar, life pleasures and meaning of life. We have an event office at the boulevard. This event office provides all kinds of activities in the community. Bingo, you know, but all kinds of other clubs as well. Classic music, folk music, jazz, American legends, gym, biking, swimming, walking, a choir. And each individual resident living in one of the 27 houses, each out of the 188 residents, have to choose here at the event office what kind of clubs he or she likes to do. So each individual has his own weekly agenda with the clubs. And Mr. Van A I told you, had to leave his house and walk outside to the club room where he meets people who all like bingo. At home, he's living together with like-minded people. He meets outside in the community, in the neighborhood, other people who share the same hobby. So if you are traditional, you normally like folk music, awful Dutch folk music. But if you are the exception, you also like classic music, you will meet people in the classic music room once a week or twice a week. And the classic music room is decorated in that style. So it's not a multifunctional room like this. It's a room that helps you to remind you where you are and what will happen. So we have different club rooms, a theater, a cafe, classic music room. Sometimes we leave and go with the bus to the swimming pool. So you need different places where people go to where the club activities are held. So there are 188 residents living in the Hogeweyk. They all have their own personal agenda. At home, you do the normal daily life activities. You help with cooking, washing, sitting, drinking coffee, chatting, and you leave your house to go to one of the activities. In traditional care, there's a club leader or an activity leader coming to you in your kitchen and is going to play beautiful music. But it's confusing to have a concert in your kitchen. So that's why people have to leave their house, because at home you live, and you leave your house and you go in society to participate. But one of the most important aspects is that we create a place where you can really be yourself and can do whatever you want to do and experience what we call the simple pleasures of life. A resident living in an urban house with the sort of English, not my taste, ugly crockery, gives comfort for her, reading the newspaper in a not a white cup, standard, no, with the little flowers on it. Details matter to give comfort for this woman. And if she forgets that this is what she really likes to do, there's a care worker around her, a professional, who will help and assist, make the coffee or give the newspaper. I already mentioned the care worker. So next pillar is the formal and informal network. It's complex care. So we need professionals, care workers, different kind of education. There's a whole medical team on site. But we also have volunteers, and we need the family. You cannot just drop off your mom and say, now it's your problem. It's a collaboration all around the individual living in the Hogeweyk. And this part, family and friends, will become even more important, and we will encourage more family members to come and to cook in the house together with the residents, not only for their loved one, but for everybody, or to help, to participate, maybe go to the shop. So family is just a family member who visits mom and helps her with her daily life. So there are a lot of professionals. There are volunteers who help with all kinds of things, and mainly in club life, in all the clubs. Imagine you have 35 different clubs every week, 188 residents who come from everywhere. How to get everybody on time in the club. So that's important. They help a lot, but also in the house. And we need the family even more to create a normal life, but also to support the professionals. Since the Hogeweyk is open, we see that we have a different view on people with dementia. Not the stigma anymore. We have to include people with dementia in society. Of course, most people in Spain and in the Netherlands with dementia are living at home. 80% of the people in the Netherlands with dementia and advanced dementia is living at home. So also at home we need to include people in society. But if they need long-term care, we still want to include them. So there's a restaurant and a bar where everybody can come and everybody can go for a drink. Residents, family, but also the neighbor. So it's open for the public. When we vote in the Netherlands, the polling station is inside the Hogeweyk, so everybody must come and go inside. We have summer markets, Christmas markets. We collaborate with schools and children. Next time, when I do it again, build something again, I would really like to incorporate a school with children, intergenerational living and activities. And we need to train staff, family, and society, because we're not yet ready. We're not ready society is not clear what we can do for people with dementia. Another important pillar is the pillar health. How do we look at care? What is good care? We want to nudge people to stay active. We created an environment, a neighborhood that nudges people to go on a walk outside, to socialize on the terrace near the restaurant, to go on a walk to your club where you meet other people, your friends. It all has a positive effect. We cook in every house. We, the care worker, cooks in every house and can invite residents to participate, to help. So this is already a great normal daily life activity. But for the others, it nudges the senses. There's something happening, something familiar happening in your house. So quality of life has a lot to do with your individual factors. Your disease, your brain status, medication. But it has also a lot to do with the environment. Having something to do, not sitting in the chair all day waiting until you are being served. Feeling of home. Do traditional institutions feel like home? Living in a group of 15, 20 people is not like home. And so, trusting people with dementia, that they can walk freely outside, that they don't jump in a fountain, if there's a fountain, or in the pond. So, and we need to adjust this to your culture, tradition. This is what you normally see and expect in traditional care. When people move in the Hogeweyk here, they have advanced dementia and average 4 other health issues: diabetes, heart disease, mobility issues. 4 other comorbidities. I have had a lot of groups from South Korea, and they tell me that some halfway, 50%, 50 of their residents, maybe they say patients, are bedridden, bedbound. They lie on bed and are treated on bed all day long. We don't recognize that in the Hogeweyk. We see that people who move in stay for a much longer period in a better physical, mental, social, spiritual condition and pass away very quickly, like Mr. Van A. This passing away is average only 4 days. So today, In the Hogeweyk, 188 residents, there may be 1 or 2 people bedridden, kept in bed, treated on bed, and those 2 will pass away within a few days. Not weeks, not years. If you look at countries around the Netherlands, Germany, the UK, you will find also much more people bedridden, kept in bed, treated on bed for weeks and months. How come? They have a different view on what is good clinical care. What is still a good intervention when people are living in a place like the Hogeweyk, a nursing home. When people move in here in the Hogeweyk, average, do you know how much medication people use here in Spain when they move in a nursing home? Anybody? I think it's around 12 to 14, something like that. Like in Italy, it's 12 to 14. I worked a lot in Italy. There's some similarities and differences, of course, between Spain and Italy, 12 to 14. When you go to the United States and go to memory care or skilled nursing care, how much medication do they use? It's around 20 different kind of medications. That tells you a little bit about how society looks at medication as a solution. When you go to the Hogeweyk or the Netherlands, at this point, average, they use around 8 different type of medications. So less than in Spain, less than in Italy, way more or less than in the United States. When people stay here, our special elder care physician will discuss the medication. Is this medication still beneficial in this phase of life? Because you will pass away, you will die in the Hogeweyk. That medication is maybe not helping you to go to the music club because you don't feel happy anymore. Or a higher blood pressure is maybe a little bit better because your falling risk is lower then. So our special elder care physician will discuss the medication, and average here at the end of life, it's around 4 different kind of medications. So we reduce the medication quite a lot. In the Hogeweyk, but also in the Netherlands, when you are in a nursing home, we don't use IVs. We don't use feeding tubes. We don't use Paxons anymore. In Germany, they still do. In the UK, they still do. But we have a different view, not only in the Hogeweyk, but in the Netherlands about that. What happens often when people get worse and living with dementia, they start to refuse food and fluids. And that's a natural process. And if you start giving a feeding tube, feed people while their body is shutting down, we think that that is inhumane. You should support the person to die with comfort. Not actively, it's not euthanasia, but make sure this person is comfortable. And if you don't feed a dying body, that person will pass away within a few days. And then if you feed a dying body, maybe it lives 2 weeks longer. That's not the goal. That's also in our view, in our Dutch view, inhumane. Because the body is shutting down. It's a natural process. There's a lot of research that proves that it's not humane to feed people while their body is really shutting down. But of course, there are ethical discussions about this. Can you do this in Spain? Can you do this in the world? The Pillar organization. Yes, you can. Is it easy? No. Because this is a different view. This is a different approach. So you need leadership. People who really want to change from the medical, clinical view to a much more social holistic approach. You need to have a clear vision. And you have to read the regulations, because many people say this cannot be done in Spain or not in the United States because it's against our regulations. But is it? If you reread and if you investigate the intention of the regulation, you see that a lot is possible, and I will show you some of the examples. So the Hogeweyk inspired a lot of people. The Hogeweyk exists already for 17 years. So we learned a lot, and we started the whole Hogeweyk based on common sense, not on research. Nowadays, there's a lot of research that shows that it's good to socialize with people. It's good to walk. Fresh air is good. Daylight is good. It's even proven that sitting around a table with only 6, 7 people, that people will eat better. So these are just some examples, way much more proof. It's even proven that when people live in a small group home, they feel better. They behave better. There are less, there's less behaviorals. So the Hogeweyk exists already for 17 years, based on common sense, an idea what we had. It's not humane to live for the rest of your life in an institutional building, in a hospital, but in a neighborhood. Now there's a lot of evidence, so we talk about our Be Advised paradigm. There's a lot of recognition around the world in what we do. So there are many, many initiatives. Part of my work is to inspire people to think differently, and we help them to make their own concept based on the Be Advised paradigm. And you recognize the 7 pillars. And when you want to develop and innovate, we always say, you have to discuss the 7 pillars from these and explore them from these 4 domains. The individual, what does it mean for you? The home, what does home means for you? The environment, we designed an urban environment. Could be also applied in a more rural environment, for example. So these are some of the examples inspired by the Be Advised paradigm in the Netherlands. I will go very fast. In Australia, the microtown, the financial models are different. This is for profit, and you pay 600,000-700,000 euro before you can move in. It's a pre-deposit payment, different system. But it's fully inspired by our work. It's not the same, but it's inspired with lifestyle, small group home living, event office, it's all there. And in New Zealand as well. And in Italy as well, the Villaggio Fondazione Roma. This is not skilled nursing care. This is socio-sanitario. It's for people in the earlier stages to moderate Alzheimer only. In Vancouver, near Vancouver, in Langley, for profit, combining dementia care and assisted living. Norway, there are several villages in a different climate. And what I liked most about these examples are the public stairs. I always say, I was a coward 20 years ago when we designed the Hogeweyk in 2 levels. We said, no, this is too dangerous. People with dementia cannot use the stairs. While in all the 3 initiatives, 4 I know about in Norway, they have stairs for people with dementia. It's a good exercise to take the stairs. This is not that far from here. Village Landais in Dax, near Bordeaux. Fully inspired by the Hogeweyk. It's different. And I have some comments on every new initiative, but it's a big step forward for France. We also applied the whole philosophy in an adult day center. So not long-term care, but an adult day center in the United States. And this is the first not-for-profit at Vancouver Island. I have a lot of comments, but it's a big step forward for Canada. And this is the last one that opened May 5th, also in New Zealand, this place, this neighborhood, replaces a local hospital and offers hospital care and dementia care in a neighborhood, specially designed for them. And there's another initiative near Atlanta, also completely different, where houses for people with dementia are added to a new built community just outside Atlanta. And these are just some of the examples. This whole story, this vision, started here in a very ugly, in my opinion, institutional, traditional building. I started here as well as manager. And we started here a pilot bringing back normal daily life, bringing back cooking, normal life activities, smaller groups. We learned a lot. We developed a Hogeweyk, and it's open for 17 years. And we are thinking about what's next, Hogeweyk 3.0. And what can we learn from this experience? Always discussing these 7 pillars and 4 domains. I cannot go over all the 7 pillars in depth, but important to realize one aspect of the pillar lifestyle at the individual domain, that we are all different. Also, when you're living with dementia, you need to realize that you cannot build a one-size-fits-all nursing home for everybody where everybody feels comfortable. If I put you in a nursing home tomorrow, you will get stress, agitation, or depression. You will not be happy. And that's what you have to realize. The people with dementia, with a cognitive brain issue, we put in places where you don't feel happy. So do they feel happy? Probably not. So that's what we have to change. We have to redefine what is health. And I heard this morning already the definition of the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization strives to the complete absence of disease. But that's not realistic. The people are old, 85, they have health issues. And you have to discuss what is important in this last phase of life. What do we treat? What don't we treat anymore? Maybe you prefer a concert above a treatment in hospital, because that hospital is a very scary place. And so the Institute of Positive Health, another Dutch initiative, Machtel Huber, redefined health as the ability to adapt and self-direct in the light of the physical, emotional, and social challenges of life. Discuss what is important in this last phase of life. Do you want to go to the concert, or do you want to have the treatment and you feel miserable until death and you die in a hospital? We have to redefine how we look at risk, because many people say what you do is way too risky. You will probably have more fallings because people walk so much. You let people help with cooking, hot pans, make tea. Just 2 slides. Make tea in the kitchen by themselves. That's dangerous. No, it's not so dangerous. And we have to learn to trust people. It's dangerous to sit on your butt all day in a traditional home where you're not motivated or nudged to do something, where everything is brought to you. So we have to redefine how we look at risk and safety. Mr. Van A walked every day. That was healthy, with the normal daily life risks of falling. And we cannot do this with the project Hogeweyk. It's just the inspiration. We need to change our societies, or at least in the Netherlands, we have to look after each other more than we did in the last decades. We have to accept that most people with dementia are living in societies, and let them live at home and discuss the normal daily life risks. And don't put people in a nursing home immediately, because that's not the solution. And there are more living options and more projects inspired by the Hogeweyk and good initiatives. So we must create the much more dementia-friendly society. We will unlock the doors of institutions. So there's a long way to go. And the biggest change, the biggest innovation, is that we have to move away from our clinical, medical view, where we talk about after you're diagnosed as patient and not anymore as human being. People with dementia are people first, human beings with all kinds of wishes and needs. But we are living in societies where the pharmacy has a huge say and impact. Move away and discuss what is most important in the last phase of life, a more holistic view. So Mr. Van A could really enjoy, until his last day, sitting outside. This was his favorite thing to do, smoking a cigar in this little shelter. It was in his same garden. He could do this. This was for him his pleasure in life. So thank you for your attention. This was, in a nutshell, the Hogeweyk concept and our lessons learned. This is the Be Advised team, and we help people around the world to move away from the clinical model and learn from the Hogeweyk and develop their own. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Hal, for such insightful presentation.